Okay, so let's get ready to begin. So let's march on the spot first. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Okay, so let's march on the spot while just getting our posture right as well. Okay, so good posture once again is just trying to get ourselves a little bit taller. Okay, so there's a book on your head and you're just trying to push it up a little bit higher. Okay, but keep your shoulders kind of relaxed. Okay, maybe slightly wider apart. Okay, so let's try to just march on the spot a little bit. Okay, just to get a heart rate up a little bit, get the blood flowing a little bit more. Okay, but try to keep a taller posture throughout. Okay, and almost just allow your arm to rotate just a little bit. Okay, maybe let's just try to move in slightly different ways. Okay, so let's maybe walk up sideways a little bit, see if you can still keep that posture going. Okay, we walk back and forth a little bit, but check your surroundings first. Okay, once again, we're just trying to maintain this posture while we're going in different ways. Okay, while we do this, let's just let more people in. Okay, so let's open the chest a little bit more now. Okay, so you're just going to relax, open, breathe down, look down slightly. As you breathe in, okay, exaggerate, so really try to pull your shoulders back. Okay, we even look up slightly. Okay, open up the fingers again. Okay, as you breathe out, just kind of relax. As you breathe in, arch your back a little bit more. You don't have to bend down too much. Kind of just relax. Okay, back to this taller posture. Okay, let's go side to side. Once again, open up the fingers. Looking left and right. Okay, so how tight your shoulders are, how tight your hips are, and this affects the spine, our posture as well. Okay, let's start the feet moving a little bit. Let's do a little bit of turning. Okay, so let's we have our thumbs on our ribs, any of the lower ribs. Okay, and the rest of the fingers just anywhere in front. Okay, so your goal is to see if you can avoid twisting your spine. So we just gently turn side to side without moving our hips or legs. Your fingers should be kind of gliding on your clothes. Okay, what we're going to try to do is try to minimize those movements. Okay, and see if we can just turn your hips now. Okay, so actually turn your pelvis side to side. Okay, so movement comes more from the hips, from the legs now. Okay, see if you can just turn and look side to side, okay, without twisting your spine. Okay, if I ask you if you have to go a little bit further, what do you have to do? You might have to turn your trailing leg or the back leg, okay, so that the toes face the same direction as the other foot. Okay, so let's try to just practice going side to side, okay, using more hips, okay, and less of the spine. Okay, so now let's try to do the same thing, but without the hand on our stomach this time. Okay, so we'll actually have the arms on the side like this. Can be a little bit wider for the stance. Okay, once again, see if you can just turn side to side. Okay, just pay more attention to what your spine is doing. Okay, so imagine you're just throwing something really heavy and you have to be careful of what you're doing in your spine. Okay, see if you can, once again, rotate for the hips, move your legs, move your feet. Okay, and just see if you can uh, minimize this twisting in the spine. Okay, so open up every time. Okay, you don't have to do it fast. Okay, just be more aware of what our backs are doing. Okay, so you can even just maybe go at different angles. Okay, you can even imagine you're taking let's say we're in an airport and we're lifting the luggage from the spinning thing back out. Okay, so see if you can just practice doing that, almost that motion without, or you can just imagine you're really holding it. Okay, without twisting your spine again. Okay, so use your hips, use your legs, less twisting at the back. Okay, so just kind of rotate a few more times. Remember the legs should move, otherwise we can't really go too far without twisting. Okay, so just kind of just be more mindful of what our spine is doing. Okay, so let's do the same thing, but up in the air. Okay, if you want, you can once again find the lower any of the lower ribs, fingers in the front again. Okay, and use hinging forward or kind of looking down. Okay, and coming back up. Okay, once again, if you start to bend your spine or if you start to arch your back, you might feel some movement underneath your fingers. Okay, and see if you can just minimize that movement. Okay, and see if you can just go up and down. Okay, without feeling much moving in front. Okay, if you do a few times, imagine you're sitting on a chair. So actually lower your butt a little bit and coming back up. And once again, see if you can minimize the amount of movement underneath. So let's just try that a few times. Okay, now actually imagine you're lifting something, let's say heavy, or let's say something light first. Okay, so you drop your glasses, something like that, and you're bending down to reach it and coming back up. Okay, once again, the spine, try to avoid the rounding so much. Okay, see if you can use your hips, use your legs a little bit more. Okay, and they can even use sometimes a good strategy is to put your hand on something to just help support your back. It could be a chair, could even just be your own thigh. Okay, so now imagine you're lifting something much heavier. Okay, so now we want to protect the back, so we want to have a little more upright posture, so we're almost squatting down a little bit lower. Okay, once again, see if you can keep your back from moving. Okay, also imagine trying to pull this object closer to you as well. Okay, so anything that's further away from the body is heavy on your back. Okay, so see if you're lifting something heavy, see if you can keep it closer to your body. Okay, so imagine picking up, I don't know, some soft drink, something like that. Okay, so you're reaching down, okay, keeping your back maybe a little bit more vertical, okay, and pulling close to your body as you stand up, okay, while just be more aware of what your back is doing. So from the side, you still see my back. It's from a straight line from the hips to the shoulders to the ears. Okay, I'm just bending my knees a little bit more so I can reach a little bit further. Okay, and that's stopping for a second. Okay, so let's just stretch a little bit on the trunk area first, stretch a little bit in the maybe legs first as well before we go down to Instagram. Okay, so let's use the wall. Okay, so if we are too tight in the front, we start to kind of round for a little bit. Okay, so let's start off simpler first. So let's lean against something. Okay, so see if you can get your head a little bit closer to the wall. Okay, so this is the equivalent of what we did during the ground with the head press. Okay, so as you can see if you can just widen your shoulders a little bit more, okay, so that you are almost spreading your shoulders across the wall to touch, so more parts of the back of the shoulders touch it. Okay, so we're not kind of squeezing back yet. Okay, we're just trying to cover more the wall of our shoulders. Okay, and your head should naturally come a little bit closer already. Okay, so now let's just lightly press the head into the wall. Okay, still breathing in and out first. Okay, and relax in between. So hold it for, let's say, around 3 to anywhere from 3 to 7 seconds. Okay, and let's just do it a couple more times. Okay, just at your own pace. Okay, so once again, you can find a wall. Okay, see if you can spread more of your shoulders across. Okay, so more of it touches, more of your back touches the wall. Okay, press your head back. Okay, holding it for, I'm just going to average it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and relax in between. Okay, so let's do it one more time. So once again, pull your shoulders back a little bit. Okay, but try to spread open as well. Okay, and then lightly press the back of your head towards the wall without looking upwards. Okay, so you still should be looking forward. Okay, but you can hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, so now let's exaggerate this movement a little bit. Okay, so this time we're actually going to try to drive the elbows back, push the head back. Imagine you're trying to lift the chest bone, kind of a little forward, a little more upwards as well. Okay, so you're almost arching the upper back a little bit more. Okay, so you're driving everything back, extending everything in between. Okay, so you're just going to push the elbows back. Okay, push the head back. Okay, lift the chest up. Again, we'll hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and relax. Okay, let's do it 2 more times. Okay, so once again, drive the elbows back, lifting the chest up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and relax. Okay, just one last time. Just kind of arch, bring our chest up to the ceiling, a little more forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and relax in between. Okay, and feel free to just shake it out a little bit. Okay, let's stretch the front of the chest a little bit as well. Okay, so we're still at the wall. You are either going to have your hands out like this, or you can, if it's more comfortable, you can have your hands kind of pointed upwards as well. Okay, but you're going to turn your body until you feel a stretch in front of your chest area. Okay, so once again, maybe be mindful of what you're turning. Okay, so see if you can turn your hips, okay, without twisting your spine so much. Okay, so it's actually, if you have no problems in the back, if you don't have osteoporosis, you can twist, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, but for this class, see if you can turn your, same thing practice before, see if you can turn your shoulders and your hips at the same time. Okay, so they maintain alignment. Okay, so if I go from the wall, I should still be here instead of kind of twisted like this. Okay, so just be a little more mindful for this class. Okay, kind of just notice what you're turning or where you're getting the movement from. Okay, but for now, just keep severe stretch on the front of the chest, front of the shoulders will be a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna hold here for a little bit. Okay, see if you can still open the fingers a little bit. And for 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, once again, rotate back. Okay, see if you can move your feet. Okay, see if you can kind of minimize the twisting of the spine again. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. So once again, either the hands out or elbows bent, up to you. Okay, see if you can, when you turn, see if you can move your shoulders and hips together. Okay, so minimize the twisting again. Okay, so you can think of your chest bone and your belly button should be facing the same direction. Okay, if they're not, you're twisting your spine a little bit. Okay, so chest bone and the belly button should be facing the same, pointing in the same direction. Okay, so let's hold here for kind of maybe 20 seconds total or so. Okay, so maybe 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep coming back. Let's move our shoulders a little more upwards this time. So we're going to use a chair for this one. Okay, or you can also use a wall as well. Okay, so if you don't feel comfortable bending forward so much, or if your chair is really low, you can use a wall and you just put your hands a little bit high up. Okay, just anything that can you can anchor your hands on. So for my case, I'm just going to use a chair. Okay, but this could be a wall where you just have your hands, or even a table. Okay, anything that you can anchor your hands on. Okay, so railing would work as well. Okay, so let's practice hinging back again. Okay, so we take a couple of steps backwards first. Okay, and just kind of push the hips back. Okay, and we just go back and forth a few times. Okay, take a few steps back. See if you can go forward again. Okay, so in this case, actually a wall might actually be more stable. Okay, but the chair will work, and we just don't put as much weight on the chair. Okay, but slowly see if you can move back a little bit. Okay, until your hands are more kind of overhead. Okay, you can just kind of go back and forth a little bit. Okay, until you find your own your limit. Okay, imagine trying to drop your chest bone closer to the ground. Okay, in the meantime, you're trying to push the chair away from you almost. Okay, so as you pull your chest bone towards the ground, you're trying to reach, I guess you can call it forward with the hands, or trying to push the chair away from you. And you should feel almost a little bit of tension in your mid back area. You can have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. That should feel a little more stable. Okay, we're just going to hold here for another, let's say another 15 seconds or so. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, slowly come back. Okay, still hold on the chair. Maybe move your feet a little bit. Okay, and pause as long as you need to. Okay, or even sit down if it makes you feel a little dizzy. Okay, but we're just trying to open the shoulders across, open up on top as well. Okay, so let's kind of stretch the legs a little bit before we go down to the floor. Okay, so just the usual stretch. Just step 1 foot, 1 foot back. The chair, you can either go a little low if you want, or still hold on a bit. Okay, but try to lift the front of your belt upwards. Okay, as you do so, you should feel more of a stretch in the front. Okay, another way to think of it is that your back is in the exact same shape as if you're standing straight. Okay, so if you step back and your back starts to arch, okay, you are not maintaining that neutral position. Okay, see if you can pull your belt buckle up to the ceiling a little bit more. Okay, not to the point where you are rounding forward, but just back to how it would look like. Okay, if you're just standing straight. Okay, and just try to straighten out the back leg a little bit as well. Get deep breath in and out. Okay, but still bring the chest up a little bit. Okay, widen your shoulders a little bit as well. Okay, just for practice. Okay, see if we can maintain just our posture, our neutral posture in just different scenarios. Okay, you can even practice the breathing here. Okay, and slowly come back out. Okay, let's try the same thing on the other side. Okay, so once again, bring the front, your belt buckle up a little bit so that your pelvis looks like it's just standing still or standing straight. Okay, still lift the chest bone up, still widen your shoulders. Okay, as if you're just standing tall. Again, just try to straighten out the back leg a little bit as well. Okay, so this is an example of how, if your hips are tight, you can pull your spine in different positions. Okay, and slowly coming back out. Okay, so now we're just gonna head towards the ground. Okay, so once again, grab as many towels as you need, okay, to either support your back or support your head. Okay, and we're also just going to practice, kind of this transition is also um, good to practice in general. Okay, but you can just kind of hinge forward. Okay, once again, as you go down, see if you can just pay attention to what your back is doing. Okay, so try to move towards the ground in some ways without rounding, okay, without twisting. Okay, just for practice. Okay, see, so I'm at the hinge on the hips a little more. Okay, move my feet around, maybe lunge back a little bit. Okay, and then get myself back. Okay, so if you want to, if your knees are fine, see if you can even open up the hips a little bit this way. So we have one leg on the ground. It probably feels much more comfortable if you have something supporting your knees. Okay, so if you don't worry too much about it. Okay, but if you feel comfortable doing this, okay, see if you can just do a lunge step. Okay, just try to do the exact same thing as we did in the standing position. Okay, you're just trying to get your hips a little more forward, belt buckle a little high up. Okay, and just move the up knee. Okay, just side to side a little bit. You might feel a stretch on the inside or somewhere around the hip area. Okay, and you can just rock back and forth. You can even do the same stretch we did before, where we try to have our hands overhead, just in a kind of a tall leaning position. Okay, so you can kind of just rock back and forth a few times. Okay, and let's go towards kind of hands and knees. Okay, and then we go on to kind of the elbows and then going on to our belly. Okay, so let's just hang out there for a second. I'm going to bring my camera down so it's easier for everyone to see. Just give me half a minute or so. Hopefully that's. Sorry about all the shaking. Give me once. Hopefully my camera is still working. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, looks so okay, I hope. Okay, so we're on our stomach here. Okay, hopefully I won't make too much background noise when my microphone hit. Okay, so I'm actually going to just put it uh, in front of me here. Hopefully everybody can still hear me. Okay, so we're just going to be on a stomach first. You can kind of rest your forehead on your forearm on your hand. Give me just spend a little more time taking a breath in and out. As you take a breath in, you might feel your belly expanding again. Okay, so what we're going to do is just going to work on extension a little bit more. Okay, so usually rounding is a problem. We just work on extension a little bit more. Okay, so you can just kind of separate your hands a little bit more. Okay, so a little bit away from the face. Okay, and you're just going to still press your head back a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to just press yourself up onto the elbows. Okay, and you can just kind of go back and forth a little bit. Okay, while you're doing this, you can even imagine just trying to squish your pelvis, press your pelvis onto the floor a little bit more. Okay, just to stabilize ourselves. Okay, but we're just going to go, we're going to press down the hands. Okay, kind of bring the elbows a little bit in. Okay, still, and then at the top, try to lengthen, try to get your chest bone all up a little high, try to get your shoulders away from your ears as well. So you're driving your elbows down a little bit. You might feel a little bit of stretch in the abdominal area. Okay, and slowly coming back. Okay, maybe let's try 3 to 5 more times. Okay, in between, if you need a rest, you can just kind of rest your forearm again. Okay, and once again, you're going to press yourself up. Get your elbows underneath your shoulders. Drive your elbows down, lifting the front of your chest up in the process. Okay, so you can think of lengthening your spine, kind of, I guess, that way. Okay, and going back down. Okay, just repeat 3 to 5 times at your own pace. Okay, if you really move your hands around, move your elbows around. Okay, so now next one, we're going to do a little bit of reaching now. Okay, so we kind of try to open the shoulders a little bit more before. Okay, but now this time, let's try to do this kind of a little bit against gravity. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to still prop up onto our elbows a little bit, still try and get your, kind of get your shoulders once again away from your ears. Okay, and your goal is just to lift one hand and reach a little further on top of your head, I guess you can call it, or I guess in front of your head. Okay, so the elbows is drive into the ground to support our body. You can, if it's too much for you to lift a hand, you can just touch the floor as well. Okay, and when you're tired, you can just kind of go back down into this resting position. Okay, so for the next one, probably easier if you have something supporting your forehead or your face because we'll be lifting the arms a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my towel. Okay, I'm just going to put it, going to take my glasses off as well. I'm just going to put this underneath my forehead. Okay, so it's supported. Okay, hopefully everyone can still hear me. Okay, so what we're going to do is just going to lift the elbows up away from the ground. Okay, so actually just slightly lift the head away from the towel. Okay, and then try to pull the shoulders back. Okay, you can rest in between. Okay, so we're not trying to go too far up. Okay, we're just trying to get our forehead a little bit away from the towel. Okay, and then get our hands away from the floor by kind of squeezing our shoulders back. Okay, holding for 3, 2, 1. Okay, and back down and relax. Okay, let's try a couple more times. Okay, so a second time. Get your forehead a little bit away from the ground. Okay, and lift your hands up. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. 2, 1. Okay, resting in between. Okay, let's do it 3 more times. 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe one last time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so be the 5th time this time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and relax in between. Feel free to just move around a little bit. Okay, so what we're doing is that we're just trying to engage the muscles to the back. Okay, so we're using our own body weight, okay, as a weight to the head, weight to the head, weight to the arms. Okay, so this time we actually just rest our forehead on the towel. Okay, and we're just gonna reach, you can kind of just reach up overhead. Okay, so kind of maybe walk your fingers out. Okay, but try to reach a little bit further away. Okay, and just kind of come back. Okay, so we're almost doing a kind of a snow angel again, but just in the opposite. Instead of on our backs, we're just on our stomach. Okay, but feel free to get out of this position anytime you feel like you're uncomfortable. Okay, but we're kind of just sweeping the ground overhead to the side of the hip. Okay, now a little bit harder now. We're just going to fight against gravity a little bit. Okay, so try to hover the hands a little bit more so you don't necessarily have to lift the hands up. Okay, we're just lightly touching for your fingertips, not really pressing down. Okay, and you're just going to sweep the floor again. Okay, feel free to lift your head up a little bit off the floor if that's more comfortable for you. Again, just slowly see if you can get your hands a little bit higher up. Okay, your pelvis, your legs should be on the ground. Okay, just be straight. Okay, if you feel comfortable, see if you can get your hands even behind the head and behind the pelvis. Okay, so that could be can be difficult. Okay, so just go at your own ability, rest in between. So we just spend kind of play around in the next minute or so, just kind of take longer rest if you need to, if you can. Just kind of explore to see how far you can go. Okay, but still take it easier on yourself. Okay, and coming back. Okay, so that's kind of the harder part. Okay, so now let's kind of roll around a little bit now. Okay, so you can have your hands overhead, at least one hand overhead. Okay, and once again, pay attention to what you're doing with your spine. See if you can do a log roll. So you can try to move your shoulders and your hips together. Okay, you can just kind of roll side to side a little bit from your stomach to your side. Okay, but see if you can figure out a way to move your shoulders and your hips at the same time. Okay, so without the twisting. This is also kind of mobility on the floor. So imagine someday we might end up on the floor because of a fall. Okay, can we get ourselves from our backs or to our stomach? Okay, maybe vice versa. Okay, so if you feel comfortable, see if you can even turn all the way to your back. Okay, and see if you can do the opposite. But once again, see if you can limit the twisting. See if you can figure out some way. So maybe driving through the heel to push the hips so they rotate at the same time as the shoulders. Okay, and kind of lightly controlling rotation back to our stomach. Okay, we do the same thing on the other side. Okay, just kind of almost play around on the floor. Okay, take a break anytime you like. Okay, but see if you can move your shoulders and your hips at the same time. Okay, I'm just gonna put my glasses back on. Okay, so let's end just going on to our backs now. Okay, so just think of that. This is practice rolling as a practice. So some days, so if we add on the backs, we need to be able to roll onto almost stomach in order to crawl to like a sofa or something like that. Okay, so we're just on the floor. Okay, so just pause for a second. Okay, just get used to this position again. Okay, so let's give our upper body a little bit of rest. Okay, so just kind of hang out here for a little bit. Okay, let's move the legs a little bit. Okay, so we're just going to, let me see if I'm still in frame. I should go forward here a little bit. Okay, so see if you can just reach out. Okay, just as far as you feel comfortable. Okay, while keeping our backs in the same place. Okay, so now let's stretch the back of the leg a little bit. Okay, so see if you can lift one leg up just as far as you can go. Okay, but still pay attention to what your back is doing. Okay, should feel almost, for most people, should feel a stretch in the back of the leg. Okay, if you find that your back is kind of collapsing, put a towel underneath your low back. Okay, just to maintain a little bit of a curve. And once again, lifting up. Okay, hold it at the top a little bit. Okay, as you lower down, still make sure your spine stays at the exact same place. Okay, so it's kind of that gentle pressure on the spine and get on the towel. Okay, if you want to make it a little more difficult, straighten both legs out. Okay, and do the same thing. Maybe a couple of times on that side. Okay, you can also try one thing. So before you lift the leg, gently press your hands or your fingers into the floor. Okay, and lift the leg. Okay, keep pressing the ground while you lower the leg. Okay, and then relax the arms. Okay, so be arms first. Okay, and then the legs. Okay, legs relax first. Okay, and then the arms. So let's try 3 to 5 times. Okay, and back to the knees bent position. Okay, let's do kind of the opposite. Okay, so that's the abdominal, the dead bug one. Okay, so we're just going to lift one knee, lift the other knee. Your hands can be either on the floor. Okay, or if you want to make it more difficult, have it pointed up. Okay, so kind of just pay attention to once again what your back is doing first. Okay, feel how much pressure you have against the towel. Just make note of that. Okay, and try to keep the pressure the same. Okay, as you kind of just inch the knees a little further out. Okay, as you feel like your abdomen starts to tense up a little bit. Okay, but see if you can maintain the same pressure on the spine against the towel as your knees is directly over your hips. Okay, so you can either stay here. Okay, make sure you can still breathe in and out. Okay, if you feel comfortable, see if you can reach out just one side a little bit more. Okay, but maintain the same amount of contact, same amount of pressure against the towel. Okay, as you reach out. Okay, make sure you can still breathe in and out. So it's more about the control, not necessarily how far you're reaching. Okay, so this is the dead bug exercise. Okay, main point, pay attention to what your back is doing, what your spine is doing. And kind of cheating a little bit by bringing my knees further in. Okay, so knees go back to above the hips. Okay, if you need a break, just either put your legs down or just at least kind of pull it more, your knees more towards you. Okay, and that'll give your trunk muscles a little bit of a break. Okay, but let's try kind of 3 to 5 reaching out. kind of per side. It could be a little bit tiring for the abdominal muscles in the front. Okay, maybe a little bit lower down. Okay, when you're done, just put one leg down at a time, or put the arms first, and then your legs. Okay, and pause for a second. Okay, you can slightly roll around. Okay, so remember, it's not that we cannot twist, it's that just for practice sake, so you can just see if you can just control. Okay, but if we need a break, you can just kind of lightly turn your hips around a little bit. Okay, kind of drop one hip down like we're turning, like while we're standing upwards. Okay, just to loosen back up. Okay, so let's work on the extension once again. Okay, so this is kind of like, it's also kind of practice for when we may be moving around on the bed, okay, or we need to, if we're on our back and we move around. Okay, so same idea as before as a wall. We're just going to drive the elbows down towards the floor, squeeze the shoulders towards the floor as well. Okay, and just try to lift the chest up. Okay, so imagine you have, let's say I have this thing here. Okay, hopefully it won't hit me in the face. Okay, but I'm trying to almost try to push it up a little higher. Okay, so imagine you're stuffing your chest, okay, and you're just trying to push it up to the ceiling. Okay, so you feel like almost your mid back muscles kind of tightening a little bit, okay, and then relaxing. Okay, so we're just working on the extensors once again, or the muscles in the back of our spine. Okay, that's what we refer to as extensors. Okay, so we're gonna push it up, hold it for about 3 seconds, okay, and let's repeat about 5 times. Okay, so it's gonna be bent, a little bit harder will be your legs are straight. Okay, so up to you. Okay, so pushing your chest up, holding for 3, 2, 1, and relaxing for a second. You can kind of play around to see if your legs are straight. How does that feel like? Okay, so still pushing the chest up. 3, 2, 1. Make sure you breathe in between. Okay, let's do 3 more times. Up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 more times. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's do one last time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we go back to your resting position again. Okay, so let's change it up a little bit. Let's work also a little bit of arm mobility. Okay, so let's try to move across the floor or slightly off side to the mat. Okay, just figure a way, see if you can move yourself kind of sideways a little bit. Okay, you'll notice you might need to, so you can do it any way you like. Okay, you might probably have to move your feet at least. You might have to kind of lift your pelvis up a little bit, okay, and then lift the chest up a little bit. Okay, see if you can just move yourself side to side. Okay, and you probably notice you all need to work, you do the same motions before. We try to lift the chest up, pressing our hands into the floor, okay, in order to really move ourselves side to side. Okay, so just think of this as just a way to explore moving on the floor. Okay, a little harder if you need to move yourself up and down. Okay, can you figure out a way to do so? Okay, just think of this as kind of kind of a play time. Okay, but or you can imagine a scenario where you end up on the ground, you have to move yourself. Okay, so let me just, I'm going to get up just for a second just to check what time it is. Forgot to wear my watch. Okay, so we're actually almost out of time. Okay, so let's kind of slowly work ourselves back up to standing again. Okay, so once again, do the log rolls. Let's try to figure out a way to move yourself, okay, without twisting the spine so much. Okay, so once again, you probably have to get one hand at least a little bit out of the way. You might have to drive through the heel or drive through the arms, okay, or reach through the arms. Okay, so you're gonna move the hips and the shoulders at the same time. Okay, maybe back up to either side. Okay, and see if you can get yourself back up to either the kind of this position, and then you can get yourself up. Okay, you can even explore different ways to get up. Okay, see if you can actually go up onto a sitting by pressing through your hands. Okay, so just kind of even explore a little bit. Okay, so just think of this as play time again. You see, try to figure out different ways to get up. One might be easy for you compared to others, okay, but you probably need to be onto your hands and legs first, okay, or at least in this position. Okay, so let's do one last one here. Okay, so if you just get yourself up onto your butt, okay, see if you can still maintain that longer spine here. Okay, once again, just play around. See if you can move around a little bit. Okay, so let's say you end up sitting on the floor and you get yourself close to your chair. Okay, just there are not much rules. Okay, just don't bend your spine too much. So try not to be too slouched here. Okay, at least lift your chest up a little bit. Okay, see if you can move yourself maybe side to side, turn a little bit, maybe be able to move sideways a little bit. Okay, just kind of get yourself closer to your chair. Okay, and after when you had enough, kind of maybe you probably have to be going onto your, so you probably have to roll onto that quadruped position again, meaning just on your hands and knees. Okay, and probably the easiest way is still put your hand, climb your hands onto your chair, taking as long as we need in between. Okay, and just kind of be able to lunge forward. Okay, so you actually, some people might actually have trouble doing this because the hips are too tight. Okay, but you might actually have to step forward. Okay, and then just driving through the hands and the legs to get ourselves up and maybe back on to a chair. Okay, so a little bit more than just posture today. So usually I say that this is called like swimming. Being able to move around on the ground is like swimming for older adults. We don't always end up in water, same way that we don't always end up on the floor. Okay, but let's say especially as we get older, we do fall. We want to be able to be comfortable moving around. Okay, at least be able to get ourselves back to the chair to get ourselves up. The same way that if we fall in water, we want to be at least comfortable getting ourselves close to the shore so we can get back onto land. Okay, so as we get older, while we still can, it's actually not a bad idea to practice being able to move comfortably on the ground. We don't have to be experts in like break dancing or anything like that, or handstands or anything like that. But we want to be comfortable enough to really just move around on the floor, be able to go comfortably, be able to go on from a lying down position to a standing position. At the very least, even when we sleep, we are practicing kind of rolling on our backs. Okay, so we do want to be comfortable moving on our backs, on our stomach, etc., just at an elementary level. Okay, so let's check everything out. Okay, feel free to just kind of, if you've been stiff, kind of locked down like this, okay, see if you can just relax it a little bit. Okay, feel free to, unless you have really bad osteoporosis, you can feel free to just kind of shake it out a little bit, turn a little bit. Once again, we don't have to be doing this all the time. Okay, we can, our spine does rotate, our spine does bend, even do motions like this. It's just in certain times, if you're certain conditions like osteoporosis, you might just have to be a little bit more careful. Okay, and that depends, and also depends on how bad it is for you as well. Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. So just a little bit of stuff sprinkle in. Later on, I might, if I have time, I might separate it into a whole different class. We just focus on the movement aspects, the rolling around the ground, being the move in some maybe in a position we don't really practice all the time. So I might add that on if I have time in the future. Okay, but thank you for coming, everyone. Hope it's been useful, and hope everyone have a great day. Bye.